Welcome to Elevate 808, a show where we focus on local small businesses and the people behind them. You know, I grew up in our family restaurant, and so when it comes to local restaurants that are run by families, it's got a little soft spot in my heart. That's why I was really excited to have on my guest, Quyen Anderson, who along with her parents, Thomas and Mai Tu, run Cuu Long Vietnamese Restaurant located in Aiea. They have an amazing story as Quyen's parents defected from communist Vietnam to find and seek a better life for their family, and they set their roots here in Hawaii, and we hear all about their amazing journey here and how they started this wonderful Vietnamese restaurant in the Pro Kai Shopping Center that has been serving families delicious bowls of pho and sour soups and lemongrass chickens, and it's just an amazing story. So I can't wait for you to hear all about it. So let's pull up a chair, grab our chopsticks, and let's elevate 808. All right, Quyen, thank you so much for joining us here on Elevate 808. And I know it's been kind of a hectic situation for you ever since the COVID crisis has happened, because you kind of got hit on both sides of your careers, because aside from helping with your family restaurant business, you're also a middle school teacher. So of all the professions, it's like restaurants and education are probably two right up there as far as affected heavily by this situation. How has it been for you? What's your experience been on both sides of teaching and running the restaurant business in the food industry during this time?
It's been very challenging. So at first, I never thought that the last day of third quarter would be the last time that I saw my students. And, being a person that you see hundreds of people every day, for that first couple of weeks where you just start seeing the walls and not seeing and interacting people, you feel a little something, a part of you is missing. And so even though you see the kids online, just not physically, seeing them in your class and not being in your classroom just feels so different. And same thing with the restaurant too. Just we were closed for the first couple of weeks, because everything was slowing and it just all happened so quickly. So we closed for the first couple of weeks, and Netflix could only last so long, and after that, back to reality, and so it's been different and challenging in multiple ways. Just I guess, being the social creature that humans are, it's just you miss that social interaction.
Well, especially in both of your professions, social uh, interaction is like the number one thing. Like,
Right. And, even though I see the customers now that because they're in their masks, I'm like, who are you? You know? So even though I get to talk to them, half of the time I don't really, I can't really tell right off the bat who they are.
yeah.
So it's definitely different.
So, how did you guys manage to make the decision to open back up at the restaurant, and what kind of things did you do to ensure that you could do that?
So at first, we started opening the first couple of days. It was really, really slow. I would say maybe down to 10 or 20% of our sales. And so
Wow.
yeah, it was really, we were like, because we have so much fresh produce and products, that we realized that we just have to close and maybe renovate. And so we thought that maybe we're closed for just the 2 weeks originally, what was planned. And then my dad was fixing up some stuff and he was getting calls every single day, and we realized that we'll give it a try again. And so we decided to reopen. We had to furlough, I would say, all of our servers, five
Oh,
or six servers, so definitely that's been hard. So usually having a staff of maybe about 5 or 6 people a day, it's down to 2 or 3 at most. But once the situation is over, we want our servers, especially they're in college, they're college students, so we want to bring them back. And so that was the hardest part, is telling them, hey, we don't have a job right now for you guys. We're closed.
yeah.
So that was definitely, it's the people that is affected by it. Yeah.
So I know that your last name is Anderson, which I think a lot of people watching will be like, you don't look like an Anderson, but that's your parents' last name is Anderson as well.
Yeah.
How How did this happen? Where does your last name come from? What's the story behind that?
That's a story that I've been asking since I was young because I have three older brothers and their last name which is Nguyen, which is a lot of Vietnamese very common last names.
Right.
You're Vietnamese if you're Nguyen. So I was always wondering, like, hey, how come I have a different last name from you guys? And they told me, oh, we found you in the trash can where you were adopted because you're the only girl. Having older brothers, they joke around. But as I got older and I dig deeper, was that so my parents had the same last name too, which was Nguyen. So the Vietnam War, which was many decades ago, my dad was fighting for South Vietnam, and he was on the American side or the democracy side. And so after North Vietnam invaded South Vietnam and took over, it became a communist country. And all the soldiers were required to go to concentration camps, no more freedom of speech. This is a new country under communist rule. And so my
Wow.
dad just said, screw this. But, part of him, because like North and South Korea, there's two countries, a part of him still wants democracy, wants freedom because he believes that's a human right. And so he
Hmm.
would do all kind of protests, and because he fought in the war, he wasn't allowed to return to the country after he left. So he decided to change his name to the most American name ever, which is Thomas Anderson. And so it kind of,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, so for visa purposes, oh, okay, this person is not, it's, an American person. And so when he changed his last name, he kept my brother's, the Vietnamese last names because the boy carries on the family name. And then so
Oh.
the girl doesn't. So they gave me Anderson. And it was very confusing for my teachers because my parents didn't speak much English.
Hmm.
And so, when he helped me co-sign my car in Colorado, they would run ID checks, right? Because you're Thomas Anderson, you do not look like a Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
And so they had to just do identity checks. It confused a lot of people, and a lot of people expect me to be a different person, or they think I'm a guy or something, because you can't
Right.
really tell. Because Quinn is a very unique name, also.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Even in the way you're spelling it too, right?
yeah, it's named after. Because I asked them like, why'd you give me this name that nobody could pronounce? And then I was like, why didn't you give me an English name? And they're like, you have an English last name, so we want a part of you to remember that you're Vietnamese. And so they gave me um, first name. People call me Quinn, but that's not how you pronounce it at all.
Oh, how do you pronounce it?
You pronounce it like wing or wing. Like sometimes it sounds like chicken wing. So I don't want to be
Oh,
called like wing. So
yeah.
I just tell people call me Quinn, and it's much easier in everybody's lives. And yeah, when I was young, like when I turned 18, I'm going to pay that $500 to change my first name because every teacher would butcher it. But I guess as I got older, it's just something unique. And,
Hmm.
it gives, I feel sorry for all the people at Starbucks and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so I just have to accept everybody will misspell it.
Well, even if you had a regular name, they probably would still misspell it at Starbucks anyway. So
Yeah.
don't, don't feel too bad for them. So, why did your parents decide to move your family here to Hawaii?
So my dad wanted to go to a place that was tropical, just like Vietnam, someplace warm. And so he chose Hawaii. And if you've been to my dad's, he's turned this house, this suburban house, into for a tropical forest in Asia or something. So he wanted that climate, so he can grow all kinds of tropical fruits. So he grows jackfruit and a bunch of different fruits to remind him of Vietnam.
And that's what was really neat because when you hear the story of like how he had to escape Vietnam and things, it was the political side that he escaped, but he still had and still has a lot of love for Vietnam, the country, like
Mm-hmm.
growing up there and the environment there, right?
Yeah, so he misses his homeland a lot, and it wasn't an easy journey to get here because you had to do it. It was illegal to leave your country, and so they
Oh.
were known as boat people, and it was really sad because they would get on these little small boats and they would run into Thai pirates or pirates that would take all of their jewelry and belongings, which if they resisted, they would sink their boats. And
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, so they had to go to Thailand to live, or different countries, Philippines, Malaysia, as refugees, and they had to wait until the United States would sponsor them. And this process could be 6 months or a couple of years.
Wow. So all in all, how long did it take for his journey to get from, or was it with your mother too at the same time, or?
No, separately, because it's such a
Oh, okay.
dangerous journey, and it was such a dangerous journey, and my mother didn't know how to swim. So my dad, he got a free ride. His best friend, was a little bit more well off, sponsored a boat for him. His best friend got shot in the buttocks, in the butt, and my dad
Oh,
carried him and saved his life. Because he got shot in the behind, and in return, he gave my dad a free boat ride to Thailand, or yeah. And then my dad came here first, and then my grandmother saved up enough money where she got a boat for my dad's family to go.
wow.
So it took 6 months to a couple years, depending how fast like United States would process your paperwork and how
Mm-hmm.
good you were at navigating the sea, because it could be, you don't know, depending the captain, it could take you a couple of
Right.
weeks or a couple of weeks, and depending if the country
Oh,
would let you in, if they and if you ran into pirates. And my mom, she did. So they ran into pirates where they were forced to strip naked, and and check if they had any gold, and they would take all the gold from the refugees, but they would spare them. So that was their journey coming here.
oh my gosh. That's such an incredible story. I had no idea. I mean, and I think people just assume like, oh, you're from another country, like you moved here. To
So
hear this
it
story of
was
struggle
definitely
and
fresh
yeah,
off boat. When you said fob or
yeah.
FOB, definitely both of them were both people. And if you get caught by the government, you're thrown in jail, because
Mm,
um, you're basically leaving your homeland. You're and that brain drain, and so you're thrown back in jail. So some people, like my uncle, was thrown in a couple of times.
oh
Eventually, he
wow.
gave up and he waited for my mother to sponsor him to come over, which was 13 years later.
Wow. Did he is your uncle with you here in Hawaii or?
He is. He works at the restaurant too. So
Oh great.
yeah, so both sides are very large families. My dad's a family of 10, and 9 siblings came over right after him.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow. And then your mom's side also has a lot of
she's one out of seven, so she brought two brothers
ooh,
over, and
wow.
his brothers also has a restaurant too.
Is the restaurant what the first thing that they did when they got here to Hawaii, or how did the restaurant come about?
So my dad, when he first came, he did many jobs. He was a Manapua man at one time,
Oh
selling little
wow.
snacks. And I used to sell he was a Manapua man selling noodles and driving places. And then he became a taxi driver. And then him and a couple of his friends, they had this idea. They went to California, and at that time, one of the largest pho chain restaurants is called Pho. So it was a very large Vietnamese chain restaurant. I would say many locations, and they partner up and open Pho in Chinatown, River Street. And so they learned
Mm-hmm.
all of the trade, and they learned how to make pho and everything. And it did really well. And then my dad decided that he wanted to, he just wanted to go on his own. And so he opened the restaurant in Aiea in 1996. It was I would say it was probably one of the first Vietnamese restaurant on the west side, and the first Vietnamese restaurant in Aiea, because the only other Vietnamese food was ba le, but they're fast food.
Mm.
When he opened, it was really slow. It was really slow, and many times he thought about closing it. And then I would say maybe in the second or third year, it started to pick up, and it's been around ever since.
Wow. And so prior to starting with that first chain restaurant, was he was he someone who enjoyed being in the kitchen and cooking at home before?
Yes, because he has so many siblings, and he just loved. Our family, we love food. My nickname at home from my brother's Piggy, because I would eat a lot, and so sometimes like we have to open a restaurant because your sister costs too much money, so we have to feed her some way, or we all love food. And after he opened, his brothers opened as well. So he has seven brothers, and so we have three other families that also opened restaurants too.
I know you said you love food, but what's your favorite part about owning a restaurant or being in the restaurant business here in Hawaii? What is your favorite aspect of it?
It's definitely the people. I've grown up and I've seen generations and I've seen customers, and it's just that, um, I have some really wonderful customers. Like I have this little girl. Her sister was my customer, and she would always eat spring rolls, the fried lumpia. She don't want to eat the core. She would just take off the skin and eat it with lemon. And so every Saturday she'll come in and I'll just fry her the spring roll wrapper and give her lemon. And she's, it just makes me so happy when, little kids or other people are happy when they see the food.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite because it's like the most interesting request, just eating fried wrapper with lemon, and she loves it. She's one that I'm missing every week. Just before, right when she walks to the door, I'm frying the, spring roll wrapper and picking the lemons for her. And
Aw.
yeah, so I just miss seeing those customers, and when other people are happy, you're happy.
Well, I think next time I come out there, I want to try her dish. It might be something like a new dish to add to the menu. You never know. Maybe she's onto something.
Yeah, I've had really like a lot of interesting story. I've had people order pho, but they don't want the soup. They just want
Oh,
noodles, and they just put like I guess it's like the Japanese style where they just put the sauce and they mix it up. And
yeah. So I know like nowadays there's like Vietnamese restaurants all over and everyone has fun. It looks like it's the same thing, but every single bowl is depending on where you go has their own unique flavor. Without, I know you don't want to give us your secrets, but what sets apart your pho versus what others might be used to?
so my my family has a history of diabetes and high blood pressure, and so when my dad learned the recipe, there's MSG. But because we want to try to make it healthy, he would take a lot of the MSG out, and our secret ingredient is fresh pineapples.
Oh, wow.
Tenderizes the meat, and so he, I tell the customers all the time, it's fresh pineapples, fresh fruit. It's a little bit more expensive because we put a lot of meat to the broth, but it's, both of my parents are close to their 70s, so and we try to make it healthy as possible, and we try to he was strain out all the fat because when you put the pho, it's really fatty. You
Mm,
can request to put the fat back in, which is the new bill. It's that
yeah.
oily broth that you pour in. So if you love rich broth, you can pour it back in. But he's such a health conscious person that he skims up all the fat.
Aside from pho, is there anything else that's kind of been really popular or that you've seen a lot of people are still ordering for takeout?
One of our more popular dishes is lemongrass chicken.
Mm.
So lemongrass chicken on sandwiches or rice. When I did that segment with you, our sour soup was selling. It was selling really well. Yeah, because it's not a really well-known dish. But when I did that segment with you, I had I would say 50% more customers ordering it, and so
Oh, no
I'm
way.
ordering so much like sour soup. Or, my regular customers, I would ask them, "Why are you not eating pho today? We want to try sour soup." And I was like, "Why?" "Oh, because we saw you, so we want to try it." And we've been eating here for 10 years. You never told us about it. I was like, because it's really not that well-known dish.
For people who didn't catch the segment that we did on sour soup, real quick, explain the name of it because I butchered the pronunciation of it, and then what's in it that makes it unique and why it's called sour soup.
Oh, it's called ganjua, which is sour soup, or you can put. Usually, you'll find ganjua tam ga, which is fish and shrimp. What makes it unique is that pho is a beef broth. Ganjua is it reminds people of synagogue. That's what the Filipino customers tell me. It's kind of the sour is made with tamarind, and we put
Okay.
the elephant ear.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that was the most fun ingredient because I'd never heard of of a vegetable called elephant ear.
Because when it grows out, the leaf looks like an elephant, and so when you look at it, it's like this sponge. When you look at this plant, it looks like a sponge. How can you eat that? It looks like some alien thing. But when we cut it up and put in soup, it's just like this. It just absorbs all the soup, and you're eating like it's like, have you ever dipped that long Chinese donut in your soup? So it's kind of
Hmm.
like that. It just sucks up all the soup, and that texture is really amazing to devour.
Well, I now that I have talked about all of this food, I am definitely hungry. But and I'm sure a lot of people watching are hungry as well. Do you have any adjusted hours, or how can people? What's the best way people can order and get takeout?
So we have adjusted our hours. So we used to be open 10 to 10. Now we're 10 to 9. And so we've adjusted our hours a little bit. But, knowing me and how much I love being around people, so I always tell them last order 8:30, but we'll have customers call me at 9:01. And I would just make the food, but if customers order, we would like to close everything down, so it takes a long time to heat it up again and heat everything up. But we're to 9, but if you desperately like, or because I understand it's family, right? You have
Hmm.
those moments like when we're really hungry and there's no place open, then I'm always willing to make accommodations, because for me it's trying to get back to my community during this time. I mean, I feel like everybody's going through issues and problems and suffering, but if I could just make somebody happy, that it makes my day happy.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out to do this, and thank you so much for what you're doing, not only at the restaurant, but trying to take care of our kids too with all you're doing with the online learning and stuff. Keep fighting the good fight. I know it's difficult, but the children, the families, our communities, we all really appreciate what you're doing. So hopefully this will end soon, and you'll get to see everybody face to face at the restaurant, at the schools, and we'll get back to the way we enjoy life.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. As always, you're such a great host, and I know what you're doing for the community too, and it's amazing work what you do to Roman. So I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
It's nothing compared to what you're doing, but I appreciate that. All right. Well, don't work too hard, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. And maybe I can get some. I can't pronounce the word still, but the sour soup.